Okay, good morning again. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that you are. I'm also glad that I'm here. So, we'll start our tour about 130 kilometers to the neighboring state of Tirol, near the city of Innsbruck. Hey Ray, aka Ray, he knows the city. I'm going to have the truck serviced and to do the mandatory inspection, which is a yearly thing, and it's the first time for this truck, and I have to disable all these noises. Well, I am just on my way out of the valley, out of Autobahn, and I think I will be on my way for about maybe close to 2 hours, which means that I'm probably gonna be late. They're waiting for me, maybe. Of course, when I'm driving and videotaping, I can't get the word. Well, I have to be there at 9 o'clock, and it's now 7:30 here. My way maybe 2 hours, close to 2 hours. So I hope that the Krapfen, the sweets I bring them, will tease them a little bit. I will excuse me being late. It has snowed a little over the night, not too much. The roads are clean, which is good for me, of course. The forecast is not too bad. There shouldn't be any snow until I think the evening. We'll see. The last videos you saw from me were probably the road service videos where we removed the snow from the sidewalks. You know, the video with the snow blowers and 3 trucks doing their best. And that's what's waiting for me on the weekend again, I think. So any day we do that. When it's snowing, we do that. If it's Christmas or New Year or any other holiday or Sunday or Friday, we have to do that. And we are glad that we can do it because when the weather is bad, many other trucking companies don't have any work at all. So we're quite happy to be able to do that. Also, of course, there's a lot of plowing to do, a lot of salting the roads. For those from southern areas in the world or in the United States who don't know how that works, you see the streets are now clean but wet, although it did not snow. This is because the road service applies salt, natrium chloride, at least 2 times a day. onto the roads. And salt has the property to draw water out of the air and out of the surrounding. It draws humidity out of the air. That's the right word. So the road will always be wet. We apply salt, but the salt, of course, prevents the road from freezing. Usually, the salt works down to -4 degrees Celsius, I think. There are special additives for salt for the motorways, for highways here. And the salt can work down to -30, I think, which it has to, of course. Now, technically not on the freeway. This is what you would call a highway in the US. It's a connection road between the state of Vorarlberg, where I live, and the state of Tirol. You will join me driving through a 10-mile long tunnel. It's about 14 kilometers long. The so-called Arlberg tunnel. It was built in the 70s. It's quite a long tunnel, quite old. Recently, I think 5 or 6 years ago, they added some extra security tunnels parallel to the main road tunnel. There are walkable tunnels to provide escape routes, and these escape routes, they were not there before, so it was quite a dangerous tunnel. Although there were never really hardcore catastrophic accidents, there were many close calls, and one of them was that a friend of mine, his load started to burn in the middle of the tunnel, and he had roofing material on it. You know, the black tar that you flame, you heat it and you flame it and you apply it on the roof to make it waterproof. And as that is an oil product, basically that's tar, it burns like hell, and you just cannot, under no circumstances, cannot put the fire out yourself with a fire extinguisher or even 10 of them. So the guy was, I think, a little bit in panic, of course, because after 5 minutes he was like a torch, basically, and he did the very right and only right thing. He just kept moving the truck. So that first of all, the flames would always blow behind and away from the truck, not endangering himself or the diesel tanks. That's the first good thing he did. And he drove like that for maybe 5 or 6 miles. And I think this were the longest 5 or 6 miles in his life, because here that stuff is burning like hell and it gets hot like hell. Yeah, we watched footage of the security cameras, and you literally saw a rolling, flaming torch. It was really awful torch. The driver, he called the emergency services, and they already waited outside of the tunnel. And he briefly exited the highway and stopped in a parking area on the gravel side where no houses, no other traffic were. And the truck was saved, actually. Because indeed the flames burned to the back behind the way of the truck. But as you can imagine, the load itself, the part that didn't burn away just melted and gave a very sticky, ugly, nasty mess all over the truck. But they managed to clean that, and everything went well at the end. As they were looking for the cause, until the end, they didn't find the real cause. At least officially, they didn't find it. As we worked with the guy in the same company, and all of us knew the real reason why it started to burn. Actually, his truck was also meant to do winter service, like, salting the roads. And for that, his loading area, which is out in the open, of course, it had to be heated so that the salt, or maybe the gravel that he uses to apply on the road, wouldn't freeze if he parked it outside, or if he was on the way at very low temperatures. So you have to heat it. You have to heat it, and of course, I don't know. The heat, I think, was taken from the exhaust pipe and diverted into 2 or 3 smaller pipes under the loading area of the truck. And at some point, I think this piece of mechanic, just let me think of the right word. It's basically the hatch, right? The hatch didn't work properly, so the mechanic of the company, he did a quick job and fixed it with very basic material like rope. I don't know what exactly, but he fixed it very quickly and not very professionally. So, for some reason, while driving in the tunnel, this hatch failed and closed, so it started to heat and finally to overheat the loading area of the truck, and the roofing material with a very low flaming point started to burn really quickly. I think it's long ago enough, so nobody will tell the insurance company anything. At least I hope you don't, guys. You never know what can happen to other people, maybe other less experienced drivers or people with me say, like less balls than this guy had, he just would have stopped the truck and started to run, right? Which would have caused a real big catastrophe, and that would have closed the tunnel for 2 or 3 years. Being the only real connection between these two states, it would have caused major trouble. Not to talk about any injuries or any death that could have appeared. But luckily there were not more than, I think, 12 or 14 vehicles in the tunnel at that time, but, well, you know, that's really a mess. And of course it doesn't only burn well, it also smokes like hell. And this is real heavy, dark, nasty, dangerous smoke there. So he really showed that he has balls. Shout out to Mickey at this point. Mickey the guy. Did this good job. He even the story even came on, and he came on national TV, of course, and also on national TV stations all over Europe, like Germany, France, England, which was, I think, at the end it was quite profitable for him because he took thousands of euros for the story, of course. Clever enough. So yeah, long story short, tunnels are, of course, a nice thing, practical and safe, but you always should be aware a little bit of what you're doing, what you're driving with. You also want to check your fuel level before you go into the tunnel. That's it. The tunnel is now appearing in 5 miles, 5 kilometers. So I'm gonna smoke a cigarette real quick because in the tunnel it's loud and dirty. It's a two-way tunnel, of course, so there is only one tunnel for both directions. And many people really panic a little bit, or panic really hard when they go to this tunnel. We're on a quite good elevation now. I'm driving uphill. I think it doesn't really come out here, but yeah, I do. That's the first short tunnel for the actual long tunnel. With short tunnel, I mean less than 3 miles. Before entering the long tunnel, I think I have to leave the motorway for a second, and you have to pass a checkpoint. And there are sensors installed that check your truck for heat, for overheating parts or possible working fires. That's one measure they implied after this accident. you see there's a lot of snow now. That's because we are on a really high elevation now, about 1100 meters, I think. I'm not too sure. And straight ahead, you can see the entrance. Oh, the thermal scanner is out of action, out of order because of the snow maybe. So yeah, I just started the video again for the tunnel.